Hey Rejoice, I hope you guys are having a good day, and I just want to come back and revisit with you some more on this concept of fixing our eyes and our thoughts on Jesus and on things above and on things that are right and pure and lovely and true and admirable and praiseworthy and excellent and those kinds of things. And I'm in Hebrews 12, and I want to read to you verses 1 and 2. But before I do, I just want to remind you that Hebrews 11 is basically the hall of fame for those who had great faith. And so when we pick up here and it says, therefore, that's what Paul is referencing. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that so easily trips us up. And let us run with endurance the race God has set before us. We do this by keeping our eyes on Jesus, the champion who initiates and perfects our faith. Because of the joy awaiting him, he endured the cross, disregarding its shame. Now he is seated in the place of honor at God's right hand. So here we see again this concept of keeping our eyes or fixing our eyes on Jesus. It's this looking away from all the things that can distract us and instead focusing and redirecting our thoughts and our sights on Christ. And I was reminded of this as I was reading earlier this week in Matthew chapter 16, and it's Peter. And I love Peter because he's just so relatable in the fact that he's just not perfect. And I love how he teaches us so many things through his responses to Jesus and just his humanity. And I'm so grateful for his life and what we can learn from him. And so here we are in Matthew chapter 16, and Jesus is talking to the disciples and he's predicting his death. He's telling them he's going to die and he's going to be buried and then he's going to rise again. And Peter's response is, "Heaven forbid, Lord, this will never happen to you." And Jesus' response to him is a little harsh. He says, "Get away from me, Satan. You are a dangerous trap to me. You are seeing things merely from a human point of view, not from God's." And I read that earlier this week and just stopped. I've read this passage so many times in my life, but man, these words just jumped off the page to me. This idea of perspective. What am I seeing? What's the perspective I have right now? Am I seeing things from my perspective, from a human perspective, from a human point of view, or from God's? And I just have to stop and think about that and question that, especially as I'm thinking about setting my mind and fixing my mind on things above, on God, fixing my thoughts and my trust, even my focus. Where's my focus? Am I putting it on him and on his word and what he says? Or am I relying on myself and what I think and what the knowledge, which of course is limited, that I have? I can't predict the future. I can't look ahead. I have no idea how things are going to unfold or what's going to happen. I can speculate, but if I've learned anything in my life, most of the time when I speculate, I'm way off. I'm really wrong. And then there's things that I'm missing that I'm not seeing. I don't have the whole picture, and he does. So I just want us to be mindful of that. What's our perspective? What are we trusting our thoughts and what we think and our knowledge more than we're trusting the God who created all things, who sees all things, who is not limited by time, who can be past, present, and future all at once, whose arm is not too short that he can't save, and who is the source of all wisdom and knowledge, and who has the ability to orchestrate details and timing and make all things work together for good. So I just want to encourage you this week that as you're thinking about things, that you would just stop and even question yourself, where is this thought coming from? Is this coming from God? Is this coming from me? Is this coming from outside media or just, where is the information coming from? Is it trustworthy? Is this what God would say? Is this the response that God would want me to have? And let him guide and direct, and let him give us peace, and let him give us stability, and let him even calm our heart and calm our mind and reassure us and help us to stand firm and to be bold in our faith and to trust him no matter what. And I just want to encourage you in that this week, that you would trust God with everything, that you would hang your whole life on him no matter what. And just test and see that he is good, and let him show you that he is able, that he is willing, and that he loves with an unconditional love.